Hello and welcome to Love My Poland. Today I would like to dive into a very Polish phenomenon, storage cellars in block apartments. Now for some of you who have visited Poland and who have lived here for some time, this might be a familiar sight, but for many it's entirely new and, let's be honest, a bit intriguing and mysterious. I remember the very first time I took my American family down to one of the storage cellars here for just a quick peek, and let's just say that it was truly an unforgettable experience for them, and they still bring it up today. But before I go any further, I need you to promise me, my Polish friends, my audience out there, that nobody will be offended by anything I say. I'm simply sharing my impressions, and I know plenty of Poles who agree with me wholeheartedly themselves. So let's keep this fun, okay? Let's get into it right now. All right, my family and I live in a block of flats right in the city center of Częstochowa. We actually live just behind the Rat House here, the city hall, beautiful city hall, in this block of flats back here. My wife and I have actually lived in 3 different apartment buildings over the past 15 years, and each flat has had its own unique cellar space. But let me tell you, they have all given me the creeps. All right, I am leaving my school right now. I'm heading down to our cellar where we live, and I'd like to show you everything. Here we go. All right, so let's walk down so I can give you a first-hand tour of our storage cellar. On our way down, you're going to notice this warning sign. Check this out. This warning sign, the first time I saw it, really freaked me out. Doesn't that look like something right out of a horror movie? Anyway, let's go on down and check out the cellar. First thing that you see, darkness. Use the switch. Oh, doesn't work, but the good news is you've got lighting that turns on automatically. So all of the tenants have a key to the main door and a separate key for their own padlock. Let's go on over to ours. Okay. Okay, so we're down here in our storage cellar, and you know, growing up in suburban Lakewood Forest in Houston, Texas, nobody had cellars or basements where I lived. It is a great thing to have the extra space, but why are storage cellars so significant here in Poland? It all comes down to history and culture, and I would throw in simplicity and design as well. Many of these block apartments were constructed during or right after World War II, and storage cellars became a standard feature. They were meant to originally store food, water, and even fuel during power outages or emergencies. And I've been told that some cellars even met the requirements to double as bomb shelters in the event of war. Again, I'm not sure about mine. And while these buildings may have been renovated over the years, the cellars, not so much. They've pretty much stayed the same. You know, the truth is, my problem is that I've watched one too many scary movies. These cellar doors with the old treated wood slats just make me wonder who's back there being imprisoned. Now I'm switching over to voice mode as I take you on a tour of the whole cellar area. I want to share 7 things I've noticed and learned about storage areas in Polish block apartments over all of my years here. Let's go. Number 1, the first thing to consider is that cellars are often quite cramped, requiring a strategic approach to both storage and organization. While our storage cellar includes some additional shelving that we didn't build, this isn't exactly the case everywhere, and frankly, we find ourselves using it less than we expected. Interestingly, this cellar is the largest one that we've ever had, so I really can't complain too much. And for 2, although it's not that visible at the moment, these basement storage cellars tend to be quite damp, leading to some water damage and mold. That's been a common issue in every apartment building we've lived in. So if you're stashing anything away, make sure it's completely dry. And I'm curious, you know, I've lived only in Częstochowa. Does this happen where you live too in Poland? Do you have this kind of damp issue down in the storage cellars? Number 3 continues to surprise me. Getting down to these cellars isn't exactly easy. I honestly don't know how some of my older neighbors manage because there are no elevators and there's no accessibility option really for them. I guess they just have to rely on the kindness of friends or family to grab whatever they've stored down there. For number 4, unlike us, nearly all my neighbors use their cellars mainly for storing bikes or camping gear or old clothing. But one guy I know turned his into a makeshift garage and woodworking station. Very clever. For our 5th point, I've heard countless stories about how vulnerable these storage areas are to break-ins, especially if you're keeping anything valuable inside. It really wouldn't take much to get in, so if you plan on storing anything worth something, I'd invest in a good lock and some security measures.
Number 6, the local regulations. It's important to check local regulations on what you can and can't store down here. Most Polish apartment buildings are managed by a housing association and rules do vary. Also, very few cellars actually have electrical outlets, and the electricity used here is covered by the association. But Polish people are some of the most ingenious folks in the world, and as the old saying goes, where there's a will, there is a way to get power down here. Check out ours. The previous owners installed this clever light bulb base with an extra power cable to use. I have no idea what they use it for, and I'd assume it's not exactly association approved. Just for everyone's knowledge, I do not use it. Finally, for the 7th point, storage cellars in Poland are just dark. The ceilings are low, the lighting is scarce. In my case, the association has installed some motion sensor LED lighting recently, so reaching in the dark to find a switch in cobwebs is a thing of the past. But what also makes this area creepy is the overwhelming smell that's really tough to describe. Many of these cellars were once used to store coal, so you get a mix of that with damp wood and stale air. And as a massive arachnophobe myself, I can tell you the insulation hanging from the pipes brushing against my face and neck gives me immediate paralysis. If I have to be honest, I've lived in this block for 6 years, and this is only the 3rd time I've been down here, seriously. So there you have it, folks, a quirky peek into the fascinating world of storage cellars and Polish block apartments. Now, despite everything I said, I am happy to have my cellar, and maybe one day in the future I'll find a good use for it, but I hope you found this entertaining and maybe even a bit enlightening. Thank you for watching today, thank you for your attention, and I am looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Do not forget to subscribe and hit that like button if you enjoyed this content. Just click the button right here on our beautiful Częstochowa Rat House, or our City Hall. See you next time.